This is a question that popped in my mind the other day, and I've been thinking about it, not too much, but it's a good question to ask, which is why is LeBron James obsessed with being the GOAT? You've seen LeBron try to promote himself as a GOAT indirectly and directly. You see it when he was saying he was chasing the ghost of Jordan after 2016. And then you've seen him in other interviews imply that he's the GOAT. You've also seen him do it indirectly, like such during the ESPYs where he had his wife say he's the GOAT. You've seen him pay media people off to say he's a GOAT. We know for sure some of these guys like Nick Wright are officially on Clutch's payroll, that we know this, that these guys are his mouthpiece. They're there to spew his rhetoric, his propaganda. And he's had other guys. I think the one of the most shameless ones was this one guy who recently published an article about how Michael Jordan's blocks and steals were misrecorded during the year he won Defensive Player of the Year, and he should have been credited for that. Now, I'm all for a legit argument, but when some people found out that this guy is a LeBron fan, it just changed everything because, again, there's some bias involved in this. So that's an issue right there. And you just wonder, like, this guy's probably underneath LeBron's payroll because LeBron has really scored everywhere to find people he can back to promote his agenda of being the GOAT. So which leads me to believe is like, why is this man so obsessed with this? That he's really obsessed. He wants people to call him the GOAT and he's not willing to stop or let up yet. I would say the obvious answer, and I know some people are going to call me a pseudo psychologist or psychiatrist for saying this, but I believe LeBron's a narcissist. Now, the definition of a narcissist, I'm just going to read the Webster Dictionary definition, which is a person who has an excessive interest in or admiration of themselves. That is definitely LeBron. He is obsessed with himself. Just, he definitely has a obsessive interest in himself more so than anybody else. Everything is really a shameless promotion for him. Even his son being in the NBA, that's another shameless plug for him in which he gets to brag like, hey, I'm the first NBA player to play with my son. No one's ever done this before. Notice again, it's really about him, not so much about Bronny. Just another show of him being a narcissist. I do believe this plays heavily into it. I probably would say somewhere between 50 to 70% of why he's obsessed with being the GOAT. But I think the other thing about it is just the financial ramifications about being officially the GOAT or being considered the GOAT by people by having a large consensus, which is you get endless endorsements, endless money opportunities. Not to say LeBron is poor. He's obviously filthy rich. I think it's reported his net worth is somewhere between $1 billion to $2 billion. He's not hurting for cash. But one thing I've learned about these ultra rich people is that it's never enough. They're still obsessed with getting more money and that they just can't stop. It's kind of like a drug addiction. So he's looking to raise his net worth and he's not willing to stop. And so he's obsessed with getting more money. And the GOAT helps him in that argument. That's like another shameless plug to get more endorsements even after his career's over, which continue to pay him an excessive amount of money. I think that's a huge reason why he really wants people to call him the GOAT, to consider him the GOAT, just for those business deals that he can land off of those. It may seem little, but every little bit helps when it comes to increasing your network and increasing your net worth and getting endorsement deals. I definitely believe this plays a huge role in this, that he's just a greedy SOB. He's obsessed with getting more money. He just wants it. He can never be satisfied. That's the sad truth. Once you get to a certain level of wealth, no number is ever going to be good enough for you because there's nothing else to really get excited about in life. You got to think about it from this perspective. It's like the marginal utility theory, which states that after a certain amount of pleasure, the amount you're going to get after you get more of it, you get more of that satisfaction is just going to decrease. For example, if you like to eat pizza, for example, the first few slices are going to be very pleasurable. And then after the first few slices, then the rate of pleasure just goes down every slice you eat. And I feel that's the case when you're that rich as him. So he's chasing something that is pretty much useless. I feel it's definitely useless because he's set up for like 100 generations, but his greed cannot be satisfied. It's unfortunate, but he's no different than any regular rich person who's ultra wealthy, who's made their money other ways than being an athlete. He's on the same level. It just shows you that greed knows no race, um, gender, or just it doesn't matter where you come from, to be honest. Once you're infected with greed, it's there and you can't get rid of it. Just he's as deplorable as these rich plutocrats, as they would say. Just he's terrible. But I just think he's wasting his time with this GOAT promotion tour, and he's eventually gonna lose. He doesn't know that, but eventually it's gonna end this GOAT argument for him. I do believe that. I think people are too scared to be honest about it, but still the majority of people consider MJ the GOAT, okay? And then you're going to have people after his career's over, these media plugs, they're no longer going to really chirp for him because it's going to be about promoting the new product, whatever that might be. That could be Victor. If Victor starts to take off in several years and wins a few rings, I guarantee you people will be screaming, he's a GOAT. They'll be flocking to him. They won't care about LeBron. LeBron will be an afterthought. I just don't see LeBron having the same post-career that Michael Jordan had when it comes to marketability. LeBron is hated. As many people who love him, there's as many people that hate him. So I just don't ever see him having that love or respect that Jordan has gotten these last 20, 30 years. Heck, there are kids who didn't grow up watching Michael during the 90s or even got to see Wizards Jordan. They're in their early 20s. You see that will argue that Jordan's a GOAT simply because they don't like LeBron. I've seen this a lot. Just that to me is the funniest thing. But I feel Michael is more iconic than LeBron. He's more like Bruce Lee or Muhammad Ali. And LeBron will never have that reach in that regard. Just he'll never be popular like that. I don't think you're going to see 20, 30 years from now kids wearing LeBron t-shirts like they still wear even Jordan's Jumpman shirts or shirts with Jordan on there. I just don't see that. I just think I don't get me wrong, LeBron will always be considered one of the greats, but I just don't think he has that marketability that Michael has. So I just think this GOAT campaign will eventually come to an end. Obviously, he won't stop, but I think a lot of people will stop pushing it after a certain period of time once his career is over. It's like I said, once a player's career is over, the media tends to be more honest about them. So that's the way I look at it.